Hello, grade 9 mathematicians. Right, here I have a problem that we are supposed to be solving. And this problem, it's under the title negative numbers. It's negative numbers. So we are having word problems that we are to solve. Right, this is from exercise 2.6, that's page 26. So the work that you are going to write as classwork is number 1 and number 2. That's question 1 and question 2. That's your classwork. Then the homework is question 3 and question 4. So I'm going to do an example here. So the example is a question that I have here with me. So we are looking at an example, and this example, it says below is a table showing temperature recordings for 3 days. So this is the temperature that was recorded for 3 days. That's day 1, maximum temperature 6, and the minimum for the same day, that's day 1, it's minus 1 degree Celsius. Then for day 2, maximum was 8 degrees Celsius and minimum was negative 3 degrees Celsius. Then day 3, it was 15 degrees Celsius and the minimum was 10 degrees Celsius. In the question 1, the first question says, which day has the highest difference? Question 2, calculate the average maximum and average minimum for 3 days. So before we calculate these problems, we have to know the meaning of certain terms. First of all, the meaning for the word difference. The word difference. When we are looking at the word difference, what does it mean? All right, difference simply means you are to look at the highest number, that's the highest, or we can call it the maximum number minus that's the lowest number, that's the minimum. So this is the definition for difference. So we're just looking at the highest number minus the lowest number. In other words, we are just saying the maximum value minus the minimum value. That's the meaning of the word difference. So when we are looking at maximum, we're just looking at the highest. Or when we are looking at the minimum, we're just looking at the lowest or the smallest. So those terms can be used: highest, biggest, or maximum. Then for lowest, it's smallest or minimum. So all those terms can be used. So the difference is equals to highest number minus smallest number. Then looking at the first question, it says, what is the highest difference? Which day has the highest difference? So it means we are going to calculate the difference per day and find out which one has got the highest difference. So question 1, I'm now writing the answers now. All right. So for day 1, what is the difference for day 1? The difference for day 1, the difference, remember by definition, we are saying is the highest. So according to our table, we have got the maximum minus minimum. That's according to our table, which then means that when I substitute there, the highest for day 1 is 6 degrees Celsius. Then I subtract the smallest, which is minimum, which is minus 1 degree Celsius. So 6 degrees Celsius minus, remember multiplication of operations, negative and positive, right? So negative multiplied by negative, it gives us what? Positive, which means 6 degrees Celsius plus, it becomes 1 degree Celsius, which means the difference there is going to be 7 degrees Celsius. That's the difference. Then we move on to day number 2. Day 2. What is the difference there? For day 2, it is going to be, we have difference. Again, by definition, I've already written the definition here, maximum minus minimum, which is going to be what? So maximum for day 2, it's 8 degrees Celsius minus minimum, which is negative 3 degrees Celsius. So in this case, it's 8 degrees Celsius minus times minus. It gives us what? Positive 3 degrees Celsius, which is equals to 11 degrees Celsius, right? Then we move on to day 3. Day 3, again, the difference there is equals to, again, by definition, maximum minus minimum, which means it is equals to 15 degrees Celsius minus 10 degrees Celsius. This one is equals to be 5 degrees Celsius. So, according to the question, which day has the highest difference, right? So, which day has got the highest difference? So, in this case, according to day 1, difference is 7. Then day 2, it's 11 degrees Celsius. Day 3, it's 5 degrees Celsius. So therefore, the day that has got highest is day 2. Day 2 has highest difference. So that's the answer for our question. Because day 2 has 11 degrees Celsius, which is highest difference. Right. Then we move on to question number 2. Our question number 2 says, calculate the average maximum and average minimum for 3 days, right? So we are to calculate the average maximum. Then what do we understand by average, right? Now, I'm going to first of all define average, right? Then I'm going to define the word average. Now, since we are to calculate the average for the question number 2, what is the meaning of average maximum? Average maximum. We are to calculate average maximum and average minimum, right? So average, by the word average, it means we are to say this is the sum of temperatures, the sum of temperatures for 3 days divided by number of days. So we are looking at the total temperature. In this case, is the total maximum temperature for 3 days. Then we divide by the number of days, right? So what is the total temperature for the 3 days? Let me then go back to the page. I already folded it the previous page. So we can see here that the maximum temperatures, we have a maximum of 6. We have maximum 6, maximum 8 for day 2, maximum 15 for day 3. So we add all these 3 temperatures, that's the maximum temperatures, then we divide by how many days? There are 3 days, right? So it means we will now say average maximum is equal to the sum of temperatures for 3 days divided by number of days, which means it is equal to the first maximum of 6. I'm putting brackets here because I have to find the maximum, the sum first, the sum of the maximum temperature. 6 plus 8 plus 15. So this is going to be the maximum temperature for 3 days. Then I'll divide by 3. That's by 3 days, right? So the first thing is for me to find the sum according to the definition for average maximum. So the first day it was 6, second day it was 8, third day it was 15. So what is the sum of temperature for the 3 days? So it's 6 plus 8, 14 plus 15, that's 29 degrees Celsius. Then I divide by 3, right? Which means divide the temperature by 3. 3 into, if I can make use of long division, my side calculation. Remember, it's very, very important to show all the calculations. So it's 29. 3 into 2, it can't, so 3 into 29, that's 9. 9 times 3, that's 27. Right? Then we subtract. That's what 2. 3 into, we put a 0 because 3 cannot enter into 2 without leaving a remainder. So we can put a 0 here. First of all, put a comma, put a 0, then we have a decimal now, which means 3 into 20, it's 6. 6 times 3, that's 18. We subtract. I'm going to express this answer as a decimal, right? Then when we subtract, we get 2. Again, since we already have a comma here, we can put a 0 to make it 20. Again, it's 6, right? Then I'm going to estimate this answer to 1 decimal place, right? So since I now have 2 decimals after the decimal point, we can then make use of that to estimate 2 decimal places, right? So 6 by 3, 18. Again, we have 2. So it means it's going to be 9.6. It's going to be 6666666, which means it's going to be every K, right? So to 1 decimal place, I can then just look at the second one, right? Which means it's going to be 9.666. I've seen that it's a Richter degrees Celsius. So to 1 decimal place, I must have 1 decimal point before. Sorry, I must have 1 decimal point, right? Which means the second one, the second decimal place become my decision maker. So I'm going to draw my line here. I want it to 1 decimal place. So this 6 is above 5. So it means I'll add 1 here because it's above half. So my answer becomes 9.7 degrees Celsius. My answer is to 1 decimal place. So this is the average maximum temperature for 3 days. Right? Then let us then move on to question number 2. Question number 2, the second one, it says average minimum. temperature for 3 days. Again, this is going to be, since it is the average simply means it's the sum of temperature. This temperature that we are talking about is what? It's minimum. Then we divide by what? For 3 days. Then we divide by number of days. Right? So it means we are to find the sum of minimum temperature for 3 days. Then we divide by the number of days. Right? So if you check the minimum temperature, we've got -1, -3, and 10. So it means the sum, we have to find the sum first, which means we add the minimum temperature. It's -1. Since I'm going to add some negative numbers here, I have to put it in brackets. So it's -1 plus another one is also negative, it's -3 plus another minimum is 10, which is positive. Then we divide by what? Number of days, which is 3 days. Right? So in this case, we are adding a negative number plus a negative number. So it means I can remove these innermost brackets, right? I have to remove the innermost brackets. When I say innermost, it means I'm looking at the brackets that are inside other brackets. So I have -1 here. So I have to remove those brackets. It's -1. Then plus multiplied by negative. I'm removing the brackets on the second number or second term. So it's plus multiplied by negative, it gives us -3 plus 10. Then divide everything by 3. Then according to BODMAS, we start by adding, right? So we've got +10, then we subtract 3. I can rearrange it, right? And I start by writing a positive number, which means I can say it's 10. Since it is positive, then I subtract 1 and subtract 3, right? I can rearrange it in that way because we can move numbers, right? But remember, the operation of each number is in front. So when you move the position, when you change the position of a number, you must make sure that you move the operation in front of it, right? So this is equals to 10 minus 1, it's 9. Then I can do my side calculation here so that I won't make mistakes. So first of all, subtract 1, 0 minus 1, it can't. So I take the whole number, which is 10 minus 1, which is 9. That's this, 10 minus 1. Then I subtract what? 3. When I subtract 3, I get what? 6, right? So it means the bracket gives us 6, then we divide by 3. 6 divided by 3, we get what? 2. So since we are dealing with temperature, so it means the average minimum temperature is 2 degrees Celsius. So that's what we just do. As a recap, boys and girls or young mathematicians, we are saying the word average simply means we have to find the sum first. After finding the sum, then in this case, we are dealing with temperature per day. So it becomes the sum of all minimum temperature for 3 days divided by the number of days, which means we have to divide by 3. So that's what we just do.